There is so much NFL on ESPN right now. Monday Night Football, plus pregame and postgame. NFL Live, NFL Primetime. Everything you need to stay on top of every game, every week.
Unbelievable.
And now NFL Network is on the ESPN app. More football, more coverage, more ways to watch. Football's on all season long on ESPN and streaming on the ESPN app.
Spider-Man's having a brand new day. We're having a holy day with a soulmate. I'm Van Connor.
And I'm Adam Ball, and this is Off Screen, your 7-day guide to everything movies. Boom! Hello and welcome back to another week of Off Screen, and of course this week we have a plethora of movies to work our way through to see what Van thinks of them. We've got Holy Days, we've got the highly anticipated new Spider-Man movie, which I know a lot of people have been talking about, Soulmate as well, but first, as always, we are going to dive straight into the UK and Ireland current top 10 at the box office. This is going to be an interesting one, actually, with it being the summer holidays and certain children's movies that are being shown. So, at number 10, wow, do you want to pronounce that one, Van?
Yana Nayagan, I believe.
Glad I'm not the only one.
I've not obviously been invited to a press show for this or heard anything about it, to be honest. Obviously, you know, a foreign language film for us, but not one I've heard of, so couldn't comment on.
So that's at number 10. We're going to dive into number 9, which is...
Ish.
Is that Ish?
Ish. I haven't seen it. I haven't had the chance to catch this one, which was really like underground. I should actually request a link for this in the BFI because I hear really good things, but it was really quietly put out there. I know Kermode was a big fan of it. I have, however, definitely seen number 8.
Yeah, number 8 this week is Evil Dead Burn. That's been out now for 4 weeks. And that has made 2.4 nearly million quid, which is, you know, that's all right.
And is out on digital as of this week, so I'm going to get the chance to revisit it now. I really enjoyed it, and it was very much a case of taking the Evil Dead concept and much like what had been done the last time, where they applied it to a sisterly relationship in a small city tenement. Here, it's remote family kind of living in sort of rural area. Family funeral, bringing out all the trauma and stuff, and basically using the Evil Deadites kind of mechanism of possession and violence, etc., to kind of unpack the story. It was really well done. I'm really swept away by it. I thought this was really something interesting. And I think I said the last time they put one of these out, I think it was Evil Dead Rise. When they put that out, I actually said, oh, there is life in the old girl yet. And this really confirms that. Like, I really do think there's a multitude of things you seem to be able to do with this concept. And they're just not letting me down on it.
All right, well, that's at number 8. At number 7 this week, Obsession. 12 weeks that's been out. 20 million quid nearly that's made.
The fact that this has been out for 3 months now, right? 12 weeks, 3 months. It is available on digital, so people can stream this so easily at home if they wanted to. But it is still making money. Nikki is the horror icon queen of the year, so it seems so far, as well as one of its great memes. We're releasing Funko Pops and T-shirts and One Wish Willows, are merchandisable everywhere. I would call this a runaway success. For Cody Rock. Absolutely. I think it's a great movie anyway. I really like the movie. It's ultimately like a big blown up version of Buffy's Bewitched, Bothered and Bewildered, which, by the way, I'm going to correct myself, it was season 2, it was 16, not 14. I checked on Disney Plus this last week. However, I'm not going to point with that. But I do think Indy Navarrete is easily the walk-away star of this whole thing, whatever it is that gets announced for her next. And note that it's been very suspiciously quiet on that for the last 3 months. When something official gets announced, it's got her attached. I guarantee it's going to be huge, and it is going to be like X-Men level huge. Like they really want to pin a franchise on this person, apparently. And she literally has her pick of the project because of how this has gone down. And I can understand why, because the performance is there, the character is really fun and sort of quirky, despite the whole darkness of the loss of female agency angle and the at what point does Bear become the bad guy kind of question, which I would argue is quite early on. Have you seen the movie, by the way? Am I talking about the movie?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh my God, will you watch this movie?
It is on my list. I've got next week off. I've got plenty of time next week.
Watch it, do, definitely.
All right, well, that's Obsession, 12 weeks at in the top. Well, it's probably been in the top 10 for close to 12 weeks, to be fair. Number 6 this week is The Invite. That's been out for 5 weeks, and that is sitting on 3.5 million almost.
I mean, the fact that this is hanging in there from the kind of film that it is really tells you how dry we are for movies in terms of releases right now, because this very much seems like the kind of low-scale indie dramedy that kind of would have come and gone in 2 weeks at best in normal times. But, you know, as you just said, 5 weeks on release. I haven't even seen it. And I've heard nothing about it to particularly inspire me to go out and see it. It's one of those I know I'm going to be part of the problem now when I say the words. It'll be on digital any day, so I'll just catch it at home kind of thing. But that absolutely is the case. Because I've literally not heard a single thing, even from critic friends, about this movie really one way or the other. It just seems to have been a meh kind of a arrival, which is a shame because I like the talent involved, you know, Seth Rogen, Olivia Wilde. I like the kind of domestic, quirky kind of, you know, for the adults, dramedy thriller element that they've got going for the marketing. It just didn't seem like a big bombastic draw for me.
All right, well, that is The Invite. At number 5, there are a lot of people still going to see the remake of Moana, but with real people, because that's at number 5. It's been out for 4 weeks now, and it's on 10.5 million.
I mean, let's be honest, by this stage, the discourse around this movie has reached exactly what you thought it would be, which is, okay, here we are. This is the definitive example of this Disney live-action slop. You know, that some of these things work, and some of them are just simply slop. And the slop element is just when you are doing nothing and you're just chucking it out, you know, line unchanged. And mark my words, they will do this with Frozen sooner rather than later. I guarantee in the next few years, when they are really desperate, they're going to whip out Frozen as a live-action adaptation, and they will treat it like the release of Wicked, like it is the biggest thing in the universe that generations have been waiting for. And I guarantee if they give it about 10 more years, they will actually be able to pull it off the way things are going.
And people will go and see it as well, won't they? They will go.
Well, people will, because they'll have been children when it came out, and they will then have children, you know, by that point. So it'll be a nostalgic parent-child generational thing, and that's how it'll all go. And it'll make $1 bazillion. And yeah, and Moana kind of proves everything wrong with that, because what is Moana on, actually, money-wise, at this moment?
10.5 nearly.
10.5 in the UK alone. Now, that means in the US it's done moderately well. Okay, moderately, we would say, sort of mid-scale. I would gather this isn't going to be $1 billion grosser, because I don't think the appeal is there. Even on a global level, Dwayne Johnson doesn't really seem to have the pull that he used to. This being a shot-for-shot, more or less, line for line, more or less, direct readaptation of the 2016 original, seems like such a wonderful contrast to its predecessor, because that had colour, for one thing, that had imagination, and this commits the cardinal sin that the Little Mermaid adaptation did, of literally singing lines that then have accompanying animation, and then not including that animation. Like in the Little Mermaid, where it says they're sad. Was it? They're in a band. He puts the line in Under the Sea. There's the line, "They're in a band." And in the animated version, the band then floats past to illustrate the point. There's no band of any kind playing in the live action version, but they keep the line there. This does very similar things a lot.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, it's ugly, it's badly lit, it's just really devoid of charm from Dwayne Johnson, strangely, which is really particularly weird given that he's the one saying the lines that he himself previously said. So, yeah. Not quite sure what to make of that. Yeah, I wasn't enchanted, but I can't hate on it particularly for being a bad movie, because it's exactly the same movie as the previous one was, but the previous one wasn't a soulless live-action remake of something. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. All right, well, that's Moana at number 5, the live-action. Number 4, Minions and Monsters are still in there. 6 weeks, 14.5 million quid.
Which is such good fun. I really love this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's half like ode to cinema, half monster movie. with a little bit like 50s sci-fi B movie thrown in, as a sort of a B plot or a B plot or even a C plot by that stage. I think that might actually count as the C plot. Really good fun, chock full of in-jokes, references, old-timey cinema nods, a weirdly brilliant cameo by George Lucas in animated form as himself, and a sort of weird backwards, sideways kind of nod to his own Star Wars museum. I think it's a really good time. I think it works for adults and children kind of alike. It's got that kind of reaffirms the idea that the Minions were kind of crafted for silent comedy. They were clearly based on that Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin kind of slapstick thing to begin with. And this reaffirms that you can do kind of wonderful things with them in different settings. I would love to actually just see different Minions movies set in history. Like, just give me the next Minions movie set in ancient Egypt, where they're just serving a pharaoh or something.
Minions and the Dinosaurs.
It's Minions and the Dice, things like that. I mean, that kind of comes up with it. But, you know what I mean? You're getting the idea. Just, if they've existed through history, just give us those. This is like Predator. We don't need a narrative. Just give us them at different points in history.
Love that idea, actually. Hitch it. So that's at number 4. At number 3, Toy Story 5. 7 weeks that's been out now. £52 million.
Oh, I mean, what did you expect money-wise on this one? I mean, I think I said to you in advance, didn't I, that this will be one of the earners this year. And obviously it has been. The fact that it's the 5th one doesn't seem to have turned people off of it. You would think by the time any film series reaches number 5, there's the obvious, really, 5 of these? Kind of mentality. And that clearly hasn't happened here at all. It proves that the Toy Story brand is kind of impervious to that kind of conventional, consumer wisdom, to be honest, in that kind of conventional audience response. I think it's a good movie. I think it's better than the last one. I don't think it's as good as the initial trilogy was. It's got a character I really enjoy added into the mix, played by Conan O'Brien, who I think is still Smarty Pants, and Greta Lee as the lily pad kind of tech villain of this. And I think that the point gets a little muddled at times with the whole, toys versus tech, and whether or not tech is actually a detriment to kids. Obviously, you as the parent, Mr. Ball, would probably have very different answers to what the characters of this movie, for instance, might particularly think, even though the movie tries to nudge them in the other direction very briefly. You know what I mean? It's one of those, we always have to find peace kind of thing, and it kind of undercuts their initial point to a degree. But it does work as Jesse's movie, as Jesse's Toy Story movie. And like I say, I think it's a lot more fun than the previous one.
All right, then at number 2 is The Odyssey. That's been out for 3 weeks now. That's doing all right. 50 million. Well, nearly 50 and a half.
I mean, that is cinema, innit? That's his good old Christopher Nolan just charging through the gate, just absolutely killing it. And this shows you something about how solid Christopher Nolan is as a box office draw at this point, and why we should never count him out. I genuinely think he's reached James Cameron level Imperial era, where he can go away for umpteen years, come back with from Christopher Nolan or from James Cameron, and it doesn't matter what concept they come up with, they'll get that billion. And I say that because The Odyssey has been out for 3 weeks, right? 50 million, 50.4. At number 1, we'll talk about when we give it a natural review, Spider-Man Brand New Day, and that has made 36.4. There's 14 million pounds difference there. 14 million pounds. By The Odyssey, it's had 2 entire weeks. And that's not based on an IP. Spider-Man is based on Spider-Man and has the Hulk and the Punisher and all that good jazz, This is The Odyssey. The only thing that's trading on is Christopher Nolan. Nobody's seen it to see a new Matt Damon movie. And nobody's seen it to see Tom Holland's new movie. The people that are seeing it are going to see the Christopher Nolan movie / going to see The Odyssey. And that, as brand strength, is insane. Really, to see it happen to someone who isn't James Cameron. And I know we've got a little flash of this with Oppenheimer, but that had the Barbenheimer thing around it, so it was sort of explainable away. This time around, there's no Barbenheimer. This time we are actually trading on the name of Christopher Nolan. We're doing what Tenet never had the chance to actually do, because Tenet could have done this had it not for the pandemic. And I'm actually fascinated to see this, because the movie's very good. but it is maybe maybe the most Christopher Nolan movie yet, where it's big, it's insistent, it's practical, it's self-imposing, it's got its grandeur, wants to make its scurrilous points, it wants to do it in a dramatic way. And then you've got John Leguizamo turning up and just being all wise. I love this movie. I really did. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's really long. It's really long to the extent that, yeah, I kind of feel like that was several decades by the time it was done. Yeah, I kind of thought that Odysseus took such a long time to go home. I enjoyed it. But, you know, like I say, I really enjoyed it. Robert Pattinson, I also enjoyed as well in that movie. Like, really snarling good fun, particularly picking on Tom Holland. I saw it in IMAX as well, which I obviously you're not going to get the chance to do now, but I know that the 70mm screenings are still really, really popular. The BFI IMAX, I believe, is still doing 70mm screenings of it. So I heartily recommend going and checking these out. Apparently they're booked through to September in some places, so definitely do. It's one of the most, maybe it's the most cinematic spectacle of this year. I mean, it's not on my top 10 of the year list, but it is the most cinematic spectacle of this year.
Well, that is The Odyssey at number 2. Number 1, we can't really say too much because we're going to review that in today's show. But of course, as Van mentioned, Spider-Man Brand New Day is at number 1. It's only been out for 1 week and it's taken 36.5 million quid already.
Do you know the stats on this? Or you heard the actual record that it's achieved?
No.
This is the highest. This is the highest grossing, the biggest opening weekend since Avengers Endgame 7 years ago. And yeah, and this thing could be on course to genuinely earn more. Like, it really goes to show you, people love Spider-Man, first of all, and clearly people are not tired of Marvel. They just need the right Marvel movie. You know what I mean?
The right story. Well, there we go. There is the UK and Ireland top 10 as it currently stands at the moment. We are going to be back in a bit. We're going to look at Spider-Man Brand New Day in a moment. But next, we'll see what Van thought to Soulmate. So stay where you are. Hello and welcome back to Off Screen then. We are going to dive straight into our next movie. Our next movie today is Soulmate. Now, you know I love these kind of movies. This is like an AI horror movie, right?
It is, but right, brace yourself for this, because we were supposed to be talking about this 8 months ago. Could you believe? Like, true story, at the start of this year, and I was genuinely looking forward to it. At the start of this year, I think it was going to be the first one back after the Christmas break. This was going to be Universal's January dumping release. Soulmate. Now you'll notice on the title, Soulmate, the A in mate is the number 8. The reasoning for that is because this is a spin-off of Megan / Mithrigan.
Right.
Right.
Mithrigan's back.
Yeah, so technically this is Mithrigan's older sister. Right? So this is kind of basically how it works.
Oh my god.
And the basic idea is, you know, because did you see the Megan movies? You actually see the Mithrigan movies, or do you just know them from pop culture?
More pop culture, but I think I saw one of them. I just can't remember which one.
So, you know, the basic premise, she's like a little robot girl who, another young girl who's dealing with trauma is given as a sort of therapy aid. And it becomes her best friend, and they basically single white females her. Or kind of goes all 90s psycho and start killing all the people like who present a threat to her and all things like that. There was a sequel which kind of derailed it a bit, and now we've got this spin-off in which the robot company effectively makes an adult-sized version solely to serve as a quote-unquote companion droid. A companion android. Yes, you know what that means, Mr. Ball. I can see it in your face. Stop blushing. Yes, that one.
Oh, no.
And of course, the software company happens to have a young coding whiz who is recently widowed, recently bereaved, and you know he's grieving and he's really going through it. He's mostly working from home and he's shutting himself off from the world. And the robotics companies say, we do this thing for employees. Would you like to be a beta tester? By the way, you're a coder. Do you mind giving it a little tweak as you go and correct it how you see fit? Which he obviously does. And well, what do you think happens, Mr. Ball? I'll tell you what. I'll give you the clip and see if you can piece it together from this.
found the android to be limited in its expressions.
I'm sorry, David. I cannot perform that action for you.
I want a genuine human experience.
Hello, David. Hello, David. I love you. Tell me you love me. People are gonna try to get in the way because they don't understand what we have. Nobody will ever know you like I do.
Is this going to make me want to unplug all of my smart speakers?
Quite possibly, my man. Yeah, this is. Mind you, to be fair, there's a lot of that in Megan as well. You know, Megan
Yeah.
went down that route with it, where it kind of weaponized the Alexa and things like that. You know, that kind of way that she could hack into things and like navigate around. And the Sarah droid here does the same thing. To be honest, really, with you, the Alexa unit that they've got in the movie, which I think is called Evie or something like that, that's the only real connection to Megan. There's really not much tethering it to that otherwise. And what you're left with is something that feels like a slightly lesser version of the Megan Fox movie Subservience from a couple of years. Do you remember we reviewed that one where Megan Fox was the companion droid, or the nanny droid or something in that one? And that was the one with the cancer-stricken wife who was completely chill with her husband buying a robot that looked like Megan Fox, which is how you knew it was science fiction. And yeah, this is about along those lines. If anything, this doesn't have the depth of sorry, I need to rephrase that. This does not have the depth. This genuinely does not have the depth of a Megan Fox sexbot movie that used the tagline, "Don't turn her on." This doesn't have that depth. I just need to do a double take because I can't believe those words just left my mouth. But yeah, that's actually the real thing here. Having said that, right, Lily Sullivan as Sarah the droid. She is from Evil Dead Rise, the last Evil Dead movie. She was the infected one, or the zombified one you saw a lot of in the marketing. And she is amazingly fun here. Like, she is a lot of fun. Like, she's got the kind of robotic, kind of, you know, the creepy factor of the robot movement. She's got that down. The fact that she can be stealth and silent. She really sells it. It's really, really well done. I'm a big fan of her in this. Outside of her, the biggest star, the biggest known name in there is really Claudia Demis from The Boys, who plays the senator, the evil head-popping senator in The Boys. She recently married Jack Quaid. She's really but she's, again, kind of pigeonholed into this really standard for the sort of template of this subgenre role. And I don't even want to say which, because the second I tell you which, you're going to know which trope they've used. It's really predictable, and it somehow, like I say, manages to wind up feeling even more soulless than the Megan Fox on Subservience. So Subservience has trumped Soulmate in this case. As for why they didn't dump it out, I mean, delaying it 8 months before dumping it out to digital seems like a strange choice. I can understand why you would dump it out to digital, full stop, fine. The 8-month wait seems weird. Fine, I understand why you wouldn't want to put it out theatrical. Just pivot there on the spot, dump it out the same day, and don't give us this suspense as to how bad is this. Because in actuality, what's actually come out is, fine. It's a bit late 80s, 90-minute boilerplate direct-to-DVD. Sorry, not direct-to-VHS, sorry. You know, kind of thing that would have come out the Troma house or something like that. I will say, by the way, the kills in it are spectacularly gruesome. I did have some fun with the kills. So she does kill a fair few people in you know, conventionally fun ways. You know, like you can very much tell this is, you know, the actress who managed to get to an Evil Dead movie, because she manages to look really convincing doing these insane level kills. I really enjoyed that. Like I say, not going to set the box, not on the box. I'm not going to set anyone's mind alight or anything like that. Available on digital now, so find it on Sky Store, Amazon Store, whatever it is, for, you know, $3.99 rental or something like that. And just strap on in and have, you know, kind of a watered down Megan 2B. To be honest, Megan Part 2, Part B, effectively. That's kind of where this kind of sits.
Would you have to have any sort of prior knowledge of the previous movies to understand this, or would it sit alone?
Not a single thing.
Okay.
Other than the fact that that little, EV Alexa thing that we've got is from Megan. There is literally no reason whatsoever that you need to know that the Freegan exists.
All right. Well, as Van said, Soulmate is out of digital right now, so search for it and you will find. Right, we've got a couple of movies left. We're going to talk about Holy Days before we finish today, but next it is the big Spider-Man Brand New Day. We'll see what Van thought. Stay there. Hello and welcome back to Off Screen then. We are going to dive into the new Marvel movie, of course, Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's out in cinemas from now. And actually, I know some people that have seen it as well, and I'm getting completely mixed reviews on it, so I'm really keen to find out what you think.
Yeah, I don't know anyone that hasn't loved it. That's interesting. Okay, so obviously other opinions are available on this one. I mean, I've read some reviews obviously of it that were quite snippy, to be fair, but I think there is a culture of negativity around the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, to be really honest. And let's do this as preamble, because I do understand where it comes from to an extent, and to be honest with you, it's a perfectly valid, logical argument, which is very simply, it undercuts the quality, the consistency and the quality and the character itself of Spider-Man. If he is simply bailable out of any situation by being benefacted by a billionaire, by having the Avengers his beck and call effectively, and effectively being a babied character rather than a hero in his own right, and that the same is arguably applicable of the films themselves. That these are films that really exist to serve an Avengers universe rather than actual Spider-Man movies. I get that, and I actually think they managed to both do that and have their cake and eat it and deliver both. I personally sit on the side that these have actually been done very well. And that starting in 2017 with Spider-Man Homecoming and the inclusion of Tony Stark as the mentor figure and how that was played, that actually what they did was quite a clever, for the time, Gen Z update of Spider-Man that didn't feel like it was being patronising and updated, which is what I did feel like with the Andrew Garfield movies, where all of a sudden he was a skateboarder and he was all emo and, oh, jeez. You know what I mean? I find the Andrew Garfield was so nauseating. That is patronising and nauseating. Attempt to update. Tom Holland movies I genuinely thought were quite kind of good-natured about it and just actually kind of sweet. Now, that's the preamble. There we go. So as I say, I understand other people get different things out of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Either way, we're now on our fourth one of them. And that would also make this the 8th overall appearance, I think. 7th or 8th overall appearance of Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Because obviously he's been in Captain America Civil War and 2 Avengers movies in between as well. So, Tom Holland's getting very used to this. This is the 4th one. It follows on from No Way Home, in which... did you see the end of No Way Home?
I think I did, but I can't remember.
So No Way Home was the one where they had the villains from the Tobey Maguire universe and the Andrew Garfield universe all come... Where you had the 3 Spider-Men.
I think I did, yeah.
Yeah, and they were fighting on the Empire State Building, yeah.
Yes.
At the end of that, Doctor Strange cast a spell at the end of that made everyone forget who Peter Parker was. That was the specificity of the spell. Because everyone had found out who Spider-Man was, he made them forget who Peter Parker was, including himself. Nobody in the universe remembers. It is now 4 years later, and Peter Parker himself seems to have forgotten who Peter Parker is, because he has basically given himself over to just being Spider-Man. And the only kind of sign of his own life that he still has left is occasionally in his surveillance hub lair, presumably kitted out with stolen Stark tech, he stalks Ned and MJ at college online and watches them for over the 4 years, have the life that he sacrificed his entire identity to give them. They then return after 4 years to New York, and their arrival brings, a sense of turmoil to Spider-Man. He sees that to Peter because he sees that MJ has a new boyfriend. Ned has moved on without him. That he's simply not part of the world. He's doing great as Spider-Man, but as Peter Parker, he's losing it entirely. And this withdrawal starts to allow his spider side to take over, and what the initial mutation of the spider bite to continue. effectively. Like, Spider-Man is not the end of the mutation, it's kind of the middle. If he leaves it unchecked, the spider kind of takes over. And this unleashes itself in a sort of Hulk-like way in spider form. Like, he still looks like Tom Holland, but the eyes go black and his temper takes over and his spider powers take over. So, of course, in this, he can only turn to, the expert on hulking out, the Hulk. So he goes to Bruce Banner, and then he needs to protect MJ. So he turns to the only person he can go to protect him. So he goes to the Punisher, and then he needs spy information. So he goes to the only person he needs to get spy information. So he goes to, you know what I mean? It's that kind of movie. In other words, it's kind of the perfect Spider-Man movie. Have a listen.
We're faced with a threat that can be anyone.
You sure you want to do this, Scorpion?
You think I'm Scorpion?
Talk to Banner?
No, Banner. Only Hulk.
I'm sorry, but you're in danger. What? I promised you that I would keep you safe. Please, you just have to trust me. Come on.
Fine.
You're the only one who can sense it.
Hey, can we do this one at a time, please?
You're the only one who can defeat it.
Sold. Sounds absolutely brilliant.
So here's the thing. It actually works on so many different levels. If you're going for the straight, standalone superhero, kind of melodrama, it goes down gangbusters. First, it's a fantastic Peter Parker movie. It's a movie about Peter Parker rather than Spider-Man. Spider-Man is kind of an obstacle to Peter Parker in this movie in a strange way. That being said, it is also a great Spider-Man movie. Who is the man behind the mask, etc. If you're a fan of the 1994 animated series, which I would have to believe you are, this will go down particularly well because it has that perfect feel of basically representing what was already a reality in the comics at that point. That Spider-Man is New York to the Marvel Universe. And it's Spider-Man's world, we're all just in it, kind of a thing. Marvel is the house of Spider-Man, for lack of a better term. And the other heroes have this way of just cameoing through Spider-Man. It's kind of a thing every hero has to do. This gets that balance perfectly right. As in, you've got the Hulk, but it's only 2 or 3 scenes. You've got the Punisher, but it's 3 or 4 scenes. You've got Person X, and it's so many scenes. And actually, it's really well balanced. I would argue that it's a bit of a weird setup for another future franchise that's coming up. If you're really thinking about it, but that's only if you know who the character is already on screen. Like, it's a weird choice to use that person, but sure. I actually, though, think it might be overall the best actual Spider-Man movie. Not the most fun, but the best actual Spider-Man movie since Spider-Man 2. With the caveat that I do, of course, think that Tom Holland, the initial trilogy, were very fun. And I do think this is very fun. I just don't think those movies were as good at movies as this. This is done to a whole other level. You know that thing when they did the Andrew Garfield ones? They kept trying to make it a big thing about doing the point of view shot when he was doing the web slinging.
Yeah.
Yeah, because GoPros had just become a thing around that time, hadn't they? So they wanted it to look like it was... And you see people on TikTok do the imitating thing with the PlayStation game all the time, where they use drones to duplicate the point of view footage. There is a new sort of take on web slinging in this, the way that it's shot and realised. And it's made to feel so tangible that you actually get, for the very first time, to actually kind of get an understanding of the physical sensation of what he goes through every time he, for instance, just drops off a building and things like that. When you sort of get inside the Spider-Man mask and you just see him just kind of letting go from the world and just plummeting. And how he, in his mind, like, this seems to take forever. This is a part of his day where he's going to be falling for what feels like 3 minutes. In actuality, it's going to be a second. That kind of thing. And then the feeling of, literally being pulled off, pulled back into gravity at the last second, by the way. It's done fantastically well. Done really, really well. And we kind of saw all this being filmed because of the set photos from Glasgow, I think, last year or a year before.
Yeah.
So we'd seen them on the cranes doing this. And to actually see what that was part of in the end is actually incredibly impressive. Holland and Zendaya, the performances, I think, are brilliant as well. I really like a lighter-hearted Frank Castle that we get in this. John Bernthal as the Punisher gets to kind of crack a smile in a way. He gets to have this uncle-nephew kind of relationship with Peter. It's kind of a fun one. Trammell Tillman from Severance as the new head of Damage Control. I'd say there's loads of little cameos. Michael Mando from Better Call Saul is in there as Scorpion, and we actually get to see a proper comic version of Scorpion with the big tail, smacking Spider-Man. I just had such a good time with this. It really, I think as well, if you were younger than me, if you're one of those people who's younger than me, you're really into the PS5 game. Because I'm not really I'm not into the video game as such. I've never had a chance. It looks like my thing. But have you played the video game, the Spider-Man games?
No, not yet. I have. I mean, my son loves watching them on YouTube, so he's shown me lots of them.
Yeah, you've seen the incredible gameplay footage and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, right. So all those brilliant videos you've seen of people just web slinging and things like that. This does it photorealistically. And because of the way that the film is structured and laid out, it honestly feels like they have tried to basically placate both the PS5 gamers and the 1994 animated cartoon fans, while simultaneously thinking, hey, why don't we just make a great movie, full stop? And that's what you get. So all around, good fun. I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was tremendous work. I did not expect it to be as good as it was.
Well, it sounds like a winning combination, and you've sold it to me even more so than the people that told me it was great. There was only 2 people that said they didn't think it was great, and that's because they thought there wasn't enough Tom Holland.
Well, I mean to be fair, actually, I will say this as well. If you're actually attracted to Tom Holland, by the way, there is a weird amount of scantily clad Tom Holland. They seem to have it in the contract that he has to get nude a lot, and I can't tell you because it's a really great secret cameo. Sort of secretive cameos, not in the marketing. It's been ruined, obviously, online, but I'm jealous of one of the people he gets to be in the state of undress with. I'm not going to lie. That being said, I know you are a very big proponent of the 4DX format.
Yes.
And Spider-Man Brand New Day is not showing in IMAX. It is going for 4DX as its big format.
Well, with the swinging and the whatnot, that's going to...
With the web slinging. So I'm going to issue you a challenge, my man. Right? It's school holidays. I think you take your son, seek out a 4DX screen, and take him on a Spider-Man ride. He may call it quits. He may well call it quits. It might be too intense for him. But I think he'll love it. Because I know my nephew would.
I think he would. It's only 40 minutes away from me, 4DX, so doable.
Heartily recommend it. If you can do it and report back, give us your feedback on the experience, I would be immensely grateful.
Absolutely happy to. All right, well, Spider-Man Brand New Day, it's out in cinemas from now. One movie left. We're going to look at Holy Days. We'll see what Van thought to that one next. Hello and welcome back for one last ride then on this week's Off Screen. We are going to dive into a movie called Holy Days now. This is an adventure comedy from what I can make out.
Do you know, actually, that's a pretty apt description for it. So this is I would say it's a dramedy. It's a dramedy, a New Zealand-based dramedy set in the 1970s about 3 nuns from a convent. And they are played by, let me see if I get this right, I believe it's Judy Davis, Miriam Margolyes, and maybe it's Meg Foster. Is that what I'm thinking of? I will pull up the cast as I do this. And they are 3 nuns who have a young... They run a sort of the orphanage bit of the convent. They have a young boy in their care, and he overhears the bishop saying one day, sort of sleazy, corrupt bishop, that the convent's going to be shut down. It's going to be knocked down by a developer because it's all knackered anyway. So they're going to turn it into flats. And so they set off on a road trip to retrieve the original deeds to the convent, which happened to be in the care of the young boy's only remaining family, his estranged aunt. So they all set off on a road trip together, these 3 nuns and this little boy, in the 1970s, to go and get the deeds to save the church. So have a listen.
Things are about to change around here.
Tell them what you told me. The bishop sees a convent that's falling to pieces.
Oh, a property developer sniffed us out.
They betrayed us.
The deeds to the convent are in the South Island.
That's where Mum's from. Why don't we just go get them?
We're never gonna make it. We're going to fix this. All gifts come from above. James 1:17.
Genitals like donkeys. Ezekiel 23:20.
I don't want to go home.
You've got a family that's waiting for you, a family that loves you.
Now, I am a big fan of Miriam Margolyes. I just think she says it how it is and she's so funny. But sometimes when people like that end up reading scripts, they're not quite as funny as when they're naturally themselves. Is that the case here?
Do you know the weirdest thing about this? Right, so we've got the three of them. So it is, I just looked at it. It's Judy Davis, Miriam Margolyes, and Jackie Weaver. I'm trying to think who it is. I'm just confusing her with. It's the one from Thelma, that actress from Thelma. Anyway, so Miriam Margolyes in this takes they give her kind of the bizarre casting, actually, of being the one who's not quite there. Like, they kind of present her as the one that's not quite, and it's really strange that you'd cast her and give her a role that didn't rely on her wit, because that's kind of the signature of Miriam Margolyes. But they've given her what's actually, it's still a funny role, but it's one that requires her to actually be more in character than actually play to her usual strength of wit. And it's not really that kind of a role. That would presumably, that kind of goes more to Judy Davis, I think. And then you've got Jackie Weaver, who's kind of the all-round, kind of more sunny side one. They're a good trio, to be fair. And the film itself is actually quite sweet. If I have an issue with it, I mean, it's quite a short film, for one thing. I mean, it clocks in, it's like 101 minutes. It plays about 95. It's like 95 minutes and then credits, sorry. And you really feel like there's a chunkier version of this story to tell, where there is something, they overcome something slightly more in the middle, and that adds a good 20 minutes to the runtime. It does feel like there's a first act and there's a third act. It really does feel like it's kind of missing a second act, because it breezes through. You know what I mean? It kind of just doesn't waste any time, kind of breezes through. And you're like, oh, is that it? Okay, I kind of feel like we kind of just got through that. Because the character stuff kind of outweighs the plot stuff. There's a misbalance there, and I do feel like maybe you could have given us like just a plot style obstacle kind of in the middle, in the second act, just given us a second act would have been a thing, and that would have turned what for me was basically a 3.5-star experience into maybe a 4.
Yeah, I mean, that's a shame, because I would want to watch this movie because I would expect to see Miriam Margolyes sort of being that gobby kind of say it how it is person. Yeah. But I guess, if she's still playing the comedy role, I guess this is testament to her acting skills then, because you didn't say she was bad. Yeah, absolutely. No. She's very good. She's very likable in it, and I will say she does tug at your heartstrings at a point. They cast her well. Like she's not wasted. It's just I just don't get why you would. You know what I mean? Well, Holy Days is out in cinemas from now. Now, of course, we're not here next week, but do you know what we're going to be looking forward to when we return? I do. I mean, I know that one of the movies we've got to look forward to... I'll tell you, there's two that I don't know much about, and they are Lady and Sunny Dancer. There is Tony, which I've been really looking forward to, which is the Anthony Bourdain biopic. This is about young Anthony Bourdain. He's played for the screen, and this makes me so happy. He's played for the screen by a perfectly cast Dominic Sessa from The Holdovers and the most recent Now You See Me movie. If you remember me saying when we reviewed The Holdovers a couple of years ago, I thought he was genuinely fantastic. He was like his first role, and he was so brilliant in it. And I watch that movie every Christmas now. Like, I was so happy last Christmas to add The Holdovers to my sort of Christmas rotation, to have it in there, to get to revisit it. Because I think it's just a wonderful film, and I think he's wonderful in it. But yeah, he's going to be playing Anthony Bourdain in Tony, which is out next week as well. And the other movie will be The End of Oak Street, which is the new one with Ewan McGregor and Anne Hathaway about... it's like a M. Night Shyamalan type movie, but it's from like the J.J. Abrams school. You know what I mean? Ooh, that sounds good. Yeah, it's like they're a family whose neighbourhood seems to get picked up and dropped somewhere else in the night. Like that. All right. Well, we shall see what Van thinks of those when we see you again. That is all we have time for this week on Offscreen. As I say, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Until then, I've been Adam Ball. I've been Van Connor. Keep it cinematic, and we shall return.